is the news feed at 6.
Tragic and deadly storms sweep the Midwest. How many cities are recovering from the disasters? And North Carolina is still searching for answers after a shootout leading to several officers dead. Plus, Bowie High School in Arlington are back in school. How they plan to help students with the trauma? Coming up. Thank you for joining us for the Newsfeed at 6. I'm Victor Aldana. We have a lot to cover tonight, but we are just hours away from some severe thunderstorms coming through DFW. Let's get right over to Lauren with the latest. Lauren, what do you have for us?
Yeah, we are expecting some severe weather within the next few days. Now, I don't want y'all to be alarmed. I don't have my typical monitor, so you may see me peer up, but that's okay. We're still going to talk about the weather. As of right now, you'll notice the severest of that weather is still in Lubbock, Wichita Falls. Overnight, that's going to be pushing into the DFW area. Okay. We're expecting right now about a level 2. With that comes possibilities of hail, possibilities of high winds. However, that flood watch is currently active, and that's going to carry over into the evening and into tomorrow morning. Now, something to be continuously weather aware about, that precipitation right now is expected to be relatively light. However, it could pick up anytime those systems move into Texas. There's possibilities for severe weather. We may see some thunderstorms later in the evening. Now, thankfully, right now we are clear, 81 degrees, partly cloudy skies. The winds are relatively minor, 15-mile-per-hour winds, 66% humidity. That's relatively low right now, but that's bound to pick up with those upcoming storms. The rest of the evening, you'll notice clouds throughout. The thunderstorms are really not going to start until about 9 p.m. You'll see 55% chance at 9, and then that's going to pick up to 60% chance at 10. Coming up, we'll take a look at those possibilities of hail and that rain timeline, followed by that 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Lauren. We'll check back with you shortly. Small towns in Oklahoma began a long cleanup Monday after tornadoes flattened homes and buildings and killed 4 people, including an infant. Those punishing storms that began late Saturday in Oklahoma injured at least 100 people, damaged a rural hospital, washed out roads, and knocked out power to more than 40,000 customers at one point. State officials said the destruction was extensive in Sulphur, a town of about 5,000 people south of Oklahoma City, where that tornado crumpled many downtown buildings, tossed cars and buses, and sheared the roofs of houses across a 15-block radius. The tornado that ripped through Westmoreland, Kansas Tuesday left 1 person dead and 22 homes destroyed. 3 residents were hospitalized with injuries. First responders from across the surrounding counties arrived quickly to help search for anyone else that was injured. In addition to the homes destroyed, at least 13 others sustained extensive damage. Pottawatomie County officials say the community has rallied together to take in those who lost their homes, and the Red Cross has opened a shelter as well. Tornadoes on Friday in Iowa and Nebraska also caused wide destruction and were blamed for 1 death. Ivan Rodriguez is in Elkhorn, Nebraska, joining us with the latest on the damage. Ivan.
The area of Elkhorn in Omaha, Nebraska is one of the hardest hit communities after severe storms barreled through. Behind me is just a piece of that damage, and you can see homes that have been destroyed and debris scattered throughout.
Just like the movie state, it was like just a freight train. The noise was so loud.
The monster tornado captured on camera in eastern Nebraska just outside Omaha, leaving devastation in its wake and ripping apart the Sunday's dream home.
I'm not too afraid to admit it. I was crying like a baby. We're thankful to be alive.
Powerful storms, including several tornadoes, swept across the Cornhusker State Friday afternoon, flipping semi-trucks and overturning rail cars.
Boy, look at the swath that they've got.
Law enforcement now searching for survivors.
Debris piles, we're looking in basements, trying to find any victims and make sure everybody is rescued that needs assistance.
Mike Woodward says nearly all of the trees on his property were uprooted by the winds, and he feels lucky to be alive.
We have a bomb shelter basement, and we were down there, and you could hear it come.
Oh no!
The National Weather Service receiving reports of more than 80 tornadoes touching down in at least 5 states Friday, and the threat for more storms across the Midwest and Southeast lingers through the weekend.
It was just the scariest feeling in the world.
2 people in this area received medical treatment for minor injuries, and local officials are really crediting the effectiveness of early warning systems. 4 people were injured in Iowa, and roughly 120 homes and businesses were damaged there. In Elkhorn, Nebraska, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Thank you, Ivan. Stay safe out there. Right now, there's a voluntary evacuation order that's been called for parts of the Houston area because of growing flooding risk. Following Sunday night and Monday morning storms, people who live near the San Vicente River are being asked to leave and to get to shelters. Some of the roads nearby are expected to be impassable as the river keeps rising. Carroll High School and Carroll Senior High School were closed for the day after the district said there was an anonymous report of a potential threat on campus. The threat was isolated to Carroll High School, but due to the scheduling of students who take classes at each campus, both campuses closed out of an abundance of caution. South Lake Police said the report involved a message that was written on a bathroom stall door by someone referring to the STAR test and a potential school shooting today. Police said there was no specific target identified and there were no other details in the message. While the campuses were closed while police investigate, all other Carroll ISD campuses remained open and continued normal operations. Students at Bowie High School in Arlington returned to class for the first time Monday after last week's deadly shooting. Police say a student shot and killed a classmate on campus last Wednesday, prompting Arlington ISD to cancel school Thursday. Students tell us Bowie had more police officers on campus on Monday, with one student saying her lifelong fear of a school shooting became a reality last week. Counselors will be available on campus this week for students and staff who need a talk. Deputies in Houston shot and killed a man at the end of a car chase in which he allegedly held his common-law wife and son at gunpoint. The woman and their 3-year-old son were not physically hurt. Houston authorities say he kidnapped them Tuesday morning and had an assault rifle in the car. They say at one point he got on the phone with a county investigator and mentioned suicide by cop.
There was a long history of abuse. The couple had recently split up about 2 weeks ago, and he had remained very threatening towards her, threatening to kill her, and he believed he was possibly heading towards the Mexico border to flee.
The multi-county chase ended when deputies blocking off the entrance to a neighborhood the man was trying to get into. Authorities say he may have been trying to pick up 2 of his other kids there. At the end of the chase, authorities say deputies opened fire after he appeared to reach for a weapon. The Texas Rangers will lead the investigation into the incident. Authorities in North Carolina are working to piece together just how a deadly gunfight unfolded in a Charlotte neighborhood Monday. One suspect, who is dead, you can see him on your screen, killed 4 law enforcement officials in the gun battle. Laura Aguirre brings us the latest as state and local leaders share more on what investigators are finding at the scene. Lauren.
8 families had to be told that their loved one had been shot in the line of duty. Tragically, 4 of those families have made the ultimate sacrifice.
The outcome of Monday's deadly gunfight between law enforcement and an armed suspect in Charlotte, North Carolina is tragically clear. But the full understanding of how it all unfolded is not.
The investigation into this tragic, brutal, deadly attack will result in more answers that we don't know today.
Monday afternoon, members of a U.S. Marshal Task Force approached a home attempting to serve an arrest warrant on a convicted felon suspected of possessing a firearm. Police say they came under fire from a high-powered rifle. 3 were fatally shot. As additional officers responded, more were injured. Police identified the suspected gunman as 39-year-old Terry Clark Hughes Jr., who was killed by officers on the front lawn.
We did recover so far an AR-15 rifle, a 40 caliber handgun.
A 4th responding officer who was shot died at a hospital Monday night. 4 other officers who were injured are all expected to fully recover, according to the department. And every officer who ran toward the gunshots honored as a hero.
To me, that's truly heroic when you hear the gunshots and the rapid fire and they're running directly into it because they know that there are people that need help and they risk their own lives to do that.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
And yesterday, solemn procession in Charlotte paid tribute to one of those police officers killed in Monday's shooting. An honor guard transported Joshua Ayer's body from the hospital to the medical examiner's office. Authorities were trying to serve Hughes, the suspect responsible, a warrant for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon when he opened fire. On Monday, the Uvalde Police Department announced its new assistant chief. His name is Mike Davis. The department says Davis has more than 25 years of experience in criminal justice and is a Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Master Peace Officer. The appointment follows the naming of Homer Delgado as the city's new police chief nearly a month ago. Delgado says Uvalde's police department is, quote, on the brink of a complete transition. Police leadership changes come in the wake of that 2022 Robb Elementary School tragedy when 19 children and 2 teachers were fatally shot. Texas is suing the Biden administration to block expanded Title IX protections for LGBTQ+ students. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton says the U.S. Department of Education overstepped its authority by expanding the scope of the landmark anti-sex discrimination law. The DOE says the new rule aims to curb discrimination based on sex stereotypes, sexual orientation, gender identity, and sex characteristics. Paxton filed the suit that would take effect in August. In Amarillo, the lawsuit claims the Biden administration violated federal rulemaking procedures in the processing of issuing the new rule. A New York court is proceeding with a retrial for Harvey Weinstein. Why the prosecution is not worried? Plus, Trump is back on the campaign trail following his criminal hush money trial. We'll be back.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
Do we have a gun?
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Announced they will retry Harvey Weinstein's New York rape case. An appeals court overturned the Hollywood producer's sex crimes conviction last week. A prosecutor at the hearing said the case against Weinstein remains strong and they want to retry it as soon as September, if possible. Weinstein appeared in the New York courtroom in his first public appearance since his conviction was overturned. His attorney, Arthur Aidala, disputed the strength of the case, saying Weinstein was acquitted of the most serious counts. Aidala said
we will now digest every syllable of the prior testimony of all the witnesses, and we're very confident that if it goes to trial, the only words we'll hear at the end of the trial are not guilty.
Aidala said his client has very serious medical issues and has been at Bellevue Hospital, but he has no issue with Weinstein's mental abilities. Weinstein will be remanded to custody pending his new trial. Last year, he was sentenced in Los Angeles to 16 years in prison for charges of rape and sexual assault. 92% of local election officials have taken action to increase security. That's according to a new survey released by NYU's Brennan Center for Justice. Nearly 40% of local election officials say they have been harassed, abused, or threatened. A new $24 million election operations center will open later this year in Durham, North Carolina, that will include high-tech security features. That security includes cybersecurity protection, emergency response plans, as well as physical security in offices and polling places. Former President Donald Trump returns to the campaign trail today with events in Wisconsin and Michigan. These campaign stops come after notable lull in Trump's campaign activity in the week since his first criminal trial started in New York. Our Washington correspondent, Julia Benbrook, joins us live from the White House with the latest on the presidential race. Julia.
Trump's criminal trial in New York has taken him off of the traditional campaign trail for weeks, but he's found unique ways to reach his supporters. He speaks to the cameras outside the courthouse almost every time that he enters or exits the building, making it clear that he would rather be campaigning. Donald Trump is the first former president to face criminal charges, and he's required to attend his hush money trial in Manhattan.
I should be right now in Pennsylvania, in Florida, in many other states, North Carolina, Georgia, campaigning.
But the trial goes dark on Wednesdays, and for the first time since it started, Trump is venturing out of New York to hold a campaign rally midweek. The former president is using his day off to visit two key battleground states, Wisconsin and Michigan. Trump won both of these states in 2016, but they flipped for President Joe Biden in 2020.
Look, our plan is working. America's coming back.
In 2024, Wisconsin and Michigan are up for grabs.
As you know, we'll be holding our convention in Milwaukee just a few months from now. And we can't wait. That means you got to vote for us because we're spending our money in your state.
A recent CBS News poll shows Trump and Biden in a neck-and-neck race in both states. They're also nearly tied in Pennsylvania, a third swing state that flipped for Biden 4 years ago. Trump's return to full-time campaign mode is fleeting. He must be back in the New York courtroom on Thursday and then again on Friday. The former president faces 34 counts of falsifying business records, stemming from a hush money payment to an adult film star before the 2016 election to cover up an alleged affair. Trump denies the affair and has pleaded not guilty. Just yesterday, the judge for Trump's criminal trial fined him $9,000 for repeatedly violating a gag order and instructed Trump to remove several posts from his social media and campaign website. The posts were removed soon after. Reporting at the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Thank you, Julia. Coming up next, we have several health stories for you, including how vaping is continuing to cause negative effects on children. That and more when we come back.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? I'm high. Oh.
Keeping an eye on your health feed, a new study finds that teens who vape have a higher risk of exposure to lead and uranium. Experts say the metal exposure could harm brain and organ development in young people. The study's authors found that among teens who vaped intermittently 6 to 19 days out of a month, urine lead levels were 40% higher than compared with occasional vapers. Vaping has slightly declined among teens. The 2023 National Youth Tobacco Survey found the use of e-cigarettes among high schoolers decreased by more than 4% from 2022 to last year. Even so, it remains the most popular form of consuming tobacco since 2014. Sources say the Justice Department will move to loosen federal restrictions on marijuana. Right now, pot is considered a Schedule I drug, which means it has no medical use and a high potential for abuse. Other drugs in that category include heroin and LSD. The Justice Department reportedly wants to move it to Schedule III. Those substances are considered to have moderate to low potential for dependence. The category includes things like Tylenol with codeine and anabolic steroids. Once the DOJ makes the recommendation, it will take months to take effect after a public comment period. Neither the Justice Department nor White House have confirmed the change. The bird flu threat may be easing up on U.S. dairy products. The Food and Drug Administration recently tested nearly 300 products from grocery stores and said no active strain of the virus was detected. In an earlier FDA test of 96 samples, roughly 20% had remnants of the H5N1 virus. FDA officials are also looking at samples of raw and cooked ground beef. This comes following a bird flu outbreak which has affected dozens of dairy cows in 9 states. The majority of the infected cattle were here in Texas. Other states affected include Kansas, Idaho, Ohio, and Colorado. Well, Lauren, it's looking pretty dark out there. What can we expect?
We're expecting more rain.
Oh no.
I know, you're not looking forward to it.
We're not. We need to get that rain out of here.
And a flood warning.
Really?
A very active radar right now.
Okay.
So we are expecting some severe storms later on. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, I don't have my typical monitor, so you may see me peeking up a little bit, nothing to be alarmed about. As of right now, the storms are really heaviest up north. Dallas-Fort Worth area is only about a level 2. With that comes chances of high winds, chances of hail, and that's going to continue to move east, and as it does, it's going to pick up in intensity. Precipitation is relatively light right now, but again, as I said, that's going to pick up in intensity as it continues to move and as those storms progress. Now, with that level 2 comes hail, comes possibilities of high winds. Hail could be up to baseball size, so you'll see that as it continues to move south. Really, Abilene, Midland, you may see the heaviest of that ice formation. Dallas-Fort Worth really won't see most of that. We could see it Thursday morning, early Thursday morning. It's just something to be weather aware about. In terms of flooding, Abilene, Waco, College Station, Austin, you'll see that again with the heaviest of that precipitation comes high chances of flooding. That heavy rain falls on that saturated ground. It's going to build up, something to keep an eye on when you're commuting to work. The rest of the evening, that rain will start about 8 p.m., 40% at 8, 55 at 9. It's going to pick back up to 70%, and then with that comes intense precipitation. Now, tomorrow and Friday, that rain may die down for a little bit before it actually picks back up Saturday. So Friday, we may see some reprieve in the DFW area. If we get any precipitation, it's going to be relatively light. As of right now, 81 degrees, partly cloudy skies, 15-mile-per-hour winds. Looking at that humidity, it's relatively low, 66%, but it's bound to pick up with those incoming scattered storms. Now, the chances of rain kind of fluctuate throughout the weekend. 80% of us will see rain tonight. That's going to drop down Friday and pick back up Friday night to 60% before it brings back to 80. So it's kind of fluctuating all over the board as we progress into the weekend. Tomorrow, more rain, high of 83, high of 80 on Friday. Again, those rain chances drop before they pick back up on Saturday, 60%, high of 80 degrees. Now, looking at the next 7 days, you'll notice those temperatures fluctuate pretty drastically. You'll see high 70s, low 80s throughout the weekend with that rain, with that cloud cover. And then you'll notice with dry skies, Tuesday and Wednesday, we're hitting almost 90 degrees. That's going to be pretty much the normal. When that precipitation moves out and that dry wind comes in, it's going to be bringing up those high temperatures as we progress into those summer months.
Thank you, Lauren. You're watching the Newsfeed at 6. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Home prices in the U.S. rose in February at the fastest pace in more than a year. Economists say it's a sign the housing market remains tough amid high mortgage rates. The S&P CoreLogic case Schiller U.S. National Home Price Index rose 6.4% in February from a year earlier. That's nearly 0.5% more than the 6% registered in January. Another home price measure, the Case-Shiller 20-City Index, showed a 7.3% year-over-year jump in February. The biggest jump was in San Diego, which saw an 11.4% increase. Portland, Oregon saw the smallest year-over-year growth in home prices. Today, May 1st, is known as College Decision Day, but many students don't know yet where they'll be this fall. These students are stuck in limbo as they wait for delayed financial award letters from FAFSA. But there were a number of processing problems and glitches with this year's rollout. Hundreds of schools had to push back their decision deadlines because of the delays, though some are still forcing students to enroll and pay a deposit without knowing how much college will actually cost them. As of April 23rd, only about half of colleges had sent aid packages to some or all students, according to the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators. One Texas-based business is spreading joy with a special group of employees serving up sweet treats. How the community are responding? Next.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Welcome back and thank you for joining us. Since it is the first day of May, yesterday marked the last of the Autism Awareness Month, and one Texas-based business is spreading joy with a special group of employees serving up sweet treats. Special needs employees at Howdy Homemade Ice Cream and Katie were all smiles yesterday. The business was inspired after the cousin of owner Roderick Batson, who had Down syndrome, passed away. Batson said he wanted to create job opportunities for people like his cousin and change the perceptions about autism. Since opening 3 years ago, the community and even local celebrities have been blessing his business with tons of support. The ice cream shop has even partnered with Houston rapper Kiki to create a peach cobbler flavored ice cream. The movie premiere, The Fall Guy, had an unexpected surprise. Ryan Gosling appeared dressed as Beavis, and his plus one was Mikey Day as Butthead. The actors attended the Los Angeles premiere of The Fall Guy on Tuesday as their characters from Saturday Night Live sketch that aired April 13. The actors were in full makeup and costume, Gosling with a prosthetic nose and blonde wig to complete the Beavis portrayal. Gosling also dressed in green suit during the film premiere alongside Emily Blunt, his co-star in The Fall Guy. The Fall premieres in theaters on May 3rd, by the way. That is all we have for today. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.